الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله رب السماوات ورب الأرض رب العالمين، وله الكبرياء في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. الحمد لله الذي بنعمته تتم الصالحات. ربنا لك الحمد حتى ترضى، ولك الحمد إذا رضيت، ولك الحمد بعد الرضا. اللهم ارحمنا فإنك بنا راحم، والطف بنا فإنك علينا قادر. إن كان يريد العزة فإن العزة لله جميعا، إليه يصعد الكلم الطيب والعمل الصالح يرفعه. ما يفتح الله للناس من رحمة فلا ممسك لها، وما يمسك فلا مرسل له من بعده، وهو العزيز الحكيم. صلى اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيد الأولين والآخرين محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، الملك الحق المبين، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله وأمينه على وحيه. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد، واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. My dear respected brother and sister in Islam, all praise and glory and thanks are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We owe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala everything we have. We are dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all our needs. So I remind myself and all of us to do our best, both in thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all that He has given us, when ta'uddu ni'mat Allahi la tuhsuha, and pray to Allah for all our needs, and on top of our needs are the needs for guidance and for forgiveness and for help. And that's why in every rak'ah in our prayer we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us ila sirat al-mustaqim, ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. Today inshallah we will do as Muslims should do whenever they get together, which is to remind ourselves, remind each other of our duties and obligations, and remind and support each other to fulfill them. Tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bil sabr. I'll be talking about two topics. They seem to be unrelated. We'll try to establish the link or the connection at the end. The first is really personal. In this last week, alhamdulillah, I've been through a lot of back pain and severe back pain. Suddenly, you find yourself so weak, so dependent, that very minor moves, very simple action, very simple tasks, you either cannot do them, you need help, or you do them very slowly and you have to plan them, and sometimes with pain. And subhanAllah, it reminded me that how these things, we take them for granted. I mean, when we are healthy, we take all these things for granted. Ability to move and to do everything by yourself, and do it quickly, and do it without even thinking. So it's good to remember to appreciate and be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the things that He has given us, without having to lose them, to appreciate them. We really have to appreciate them when we have them. And then we need to remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every day is protecting us from so many things that were coming our ways. So if you, at the end of the day, you find yourself healthy, secure, fed, you should be very thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are great bounties that we don't appreciate them, especially being healthy. But we should train ourselves even by remembering those who don't have what you have, so that you can appreciate the bounties and the gifts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, this does not mean that you should not be very ambitious. You should. You should be very ambitious. You start the day trying to improve, trying to make more money, to be stronger, to be to have dreams that you want to turn them into reality, but at the end of the day, you accept the outcome. Whatever Allah has given you, you should be happy with it, and you should accept it. It's like in sports, teams, they compete to win, but they should accept the result. They should have that sportsmanship or the spirit to accept the outcome. So that should be the attitude of a believer. This is something that I just want to bring to your attention, that train yourself to express your gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to appreciate a lot of things that you have that we take them for granted. Second subject is more important, is something that is very serious in our deen, very serious in our society, and it's an issue that has to be addressed head on. Also, for a long time, I take this issue for granted, but it seems that that's not the case even among Muslims, and even among very practicing Muslims and very committed or devout Muslims. This is Rida al-Walidain. Rida al-Walidain, being kind to your parents, making sure that your parents are pleased and satisfied with you. Again, this is something that I thought, maybe I was naive, I thought that every Muslim who is practicing, who is in the mosque, who is devout Muslim, should be doing this automatically, but it turns out that that's not the case. That's not the case, and unfortunately there are many people who are actually now, it is easier to count those who are doing a good job with their parents rather than trying to count those who are not. Why this is very serious? In our deen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put this issue next to Tawheed. It can't be more serious than that. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Immediately, Allah has decreed that you should not worship. You should worship none but Him, that's Tawheed, and you should be kind to your parents. And that was repeated. أخذ الله ميثاق بني إسرائيل لا تعبدوا إلا الله. It's always comes, or in many places comes next to وبالوالدين إحسانا. The Tawheed and the parents. Your attitude towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or your gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, followed by your gratitude towards your parents. And why this is the case? Because our deen is built on gratitude, on shukr. In Surah Luqman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ يَشْكُرْ فَإِنَّمَا يَشْكُرُ نَفْسِهِ وَمَنْ كَفَرَ. And in other places also, shukr and kufr are mentioned in contrast. So, if you are grateful, you are a believer. The opposite of, or ungrateful means it's associated with kufr. So our deen is based, we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala out of gratitude, to express our gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If that's the case, then you are in this situation you are in because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then because of your parents, or because of what Allah has given you through your parents. Just imagine the way you came to this world. And you imagine where you are now. Who made you? Who made you into the person you are today? Sister with children, please move out to the room, special rooms, please. Who made you, who turned you from the situation you came in this world to where you are now? It's your parents. So you cannot afford not to be grateful to your parents. And if you are not grateful to your parents, I'm telling you, more than likely, you're not grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, "Man lam yashkur al-nas lam yashkur Allah." Those who are not grateful to people who did favor to them, they are not grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So who brought you to this point? Who made you? Who took care of you for years when you were completely helpless? Completely helpless, it's your parents. I'm telling you now, and I appreciate the help I get because there are certain things I cannot do without help. But when we came to this world, we could do nothing. There is nothing we can do. We're totally helpless, and our parents took care of us from A to Z. So it is a condition for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is for your parents to be pleased with you. Make no mistake about it. مَا رِضَاءُ اللَّهِ إِلَّا بِرِضَاءِ الْوَالِدَيْنِ. If your parents are not satisfied with you, are not happy with you, are not pleased with you, more than likely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not pleased with you, no matter what you're doing. So you have to understand this, that it is a condition. So those of us who say that we are serious about seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have to understand that the path towards the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala passes by the pleasure of or satisfaction of your parents. And let me tell you something. This is from experience. I was exposed to so many cases in my life of people. I can tell you that every time I find someone who has an easy life, who has a blessing, barakah, in his wealth, in his health, etc., you find his parents are pleased with him. He's very good to his parents. And every time I came across a person who is struggling in this life, that wherever he goes, he finds it hard, he finds it difficult. Doors are closed in his, and then I end up asking him, or I find out that he has problem with his parents, that his parents are not pleased with him and he's not good with his parents. So I have seen this time and again, both easy life, barakah, blessing, etc., parents are satisfied. Hard life, every minor thing becomes very hard. You find that the person is not really good with his parents. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one time he was climbing the minbar, and he was saying Ameen 3 times. Ameen, and then Ameen, and then Ameen. So companions asked him afterwards, why you were saying Ameen? He said he was saying Ameen for the dua of Jibreel, because Jibreel was making dua. And Jibreel making dua, basically almost cursing the person. There are 3 categories of people. The first is the person who reaches his parents while they're old and he does not make it to Jannah, to heaven. This is a person who is loser and cursed. You missed a great opportunity. Allah gave you great opportunity. You grow up, and when you are capable, you find your parents needs your help, and you did not take advantage of that opportunity to take it as a bridge to heaven. So this is a person considered loser and cursed. The second is the one who reaches Ramadan and does not get his sins forgiven. He's also someone who missed a great opportunity. And the third, the one when the name of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Muhammad, is mentioned in front of him and he does not say sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So one of the category of people who are losers and cursed are the people who reach their parents in old age and they do not take good care of them. That tells us what? That tells us that we should switch our thinking from looking at our parents when they're old as a burden into looking at that as an opportunity. Now you see it as an opportunity. It's like when someone comes here and asks for your money, ask for sadaqah. He's giving you an opportunity. It's not a burden. So when you reach your parents when they're old, you have to start seeing it as an opportunity. Thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gave you an opportunity, shortcut to heaven, a highway that will lead to heaven. You cannot imagine how precious is the fact that your parents are pleased with you and making dua for you. This is something that you have to buy it no matter how expensive it is. Everything that you're gonna do to get that satisfaction of your parents and their dua is worth it. It's a very good investment, a very smart investment. If you're gonna put money, if you're gonna put time, if you're gonna take good care of them so that you get their satisfaction and their dua, you are a winner. You are making very smart investment. Because that dua, that prayer from them, that satisfaction is very precious. You need it. You need it badly to protect you against so many things that are coming your way in this life. Allah will protect you with the dua of your parents. You're buying an insurance. You're buying an insurance when you are investing with your parents. You are buying an insurance to protect you against so many things that you may face in this life. Recently, I have a cousin who was a woman sick, and her daughter were taking care of her, very good care of her. And I was really amazed when she passed away that her daughter were, even though, especially in the last weeks and months, she was in need for a lot of care. You think that probably her daughter will, start to get frustrated, or they were dreaming that if we just continue forever and we continue to serve her and taking good care of her. She was very amazing, especially at this time and age. Next, if all of this was not enough for you to convince you, this is probably will. This is basically, and this is also something that I saw from experience. كما تدين تدان. The way you're treating your parents, that's the way you're going to be treated by your children. Make no mistake about it. Don't waste your time to start talking to your children when you are old about birr al-walidain if they did not see you doing it. Children, they don't talk, but they are very good observers. So they see what you're doing, and that's exactly how they're going to treat you. And you may say that maybe I don't need them, maybe I have my retirement, I have money. When you are at that age, you will be very desperate for even good words and kindness, even if you don't need money. And if you didn't do it to your parents, you're not going to get it from your children. So your children will treat you exactly the same way that you're treating your parents. And I can guarantee you this. Now, how can we fulfill this? Because some people say, I did my part, I'm sending them some money. What do I need to do more? I did this, I did that to them, and that should be enough. Let me tell you this, and I said this time and again in our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I say that there is nothing you can do to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enough. Clear? There is nothing we can do to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enough. If Quran says, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا, you cannot even count it and appreciate the bounties of Allah, let alone to match it with gratitude. You cannot. So there is nothing we can do to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enough for all that He has given us. We just have to do our best and hope that Allah accept our shortcoming and deficiency. But we should do our best, maximum. Same thing applies to our relationship with our parents. There is nothing you can do to thank your parents enough for what they have done to you. So you're not talking about doing something to your parents. Doing until they are satisfied, doing your utmost, doing your maximum. Why? Because you keep this in mind, that there is nothing you can do to thank them enough for what they have done to you. And remember the story of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam seeing someone in Hajj making tawaf with his mother on his shoulder. And he asked the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is this enough? And the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no. There is nothing you can do. You just have to do your utmost. You do everything they need. You do your best. You keep pushing yourself and trying to find a way to make them happy and to make them satisfied. And let me tell you this, a lot of time, in a lot of cases, especially nowadays, your parents do not need your financial help. They need that good words, kindness. And unfortunately, some people, even in this part, they fail. Even when their parents, they don't need their money, they don't need their financial support, they ignore them completely and neglect them. They don't get from them even that kindness and the good words. So you keep doing with Allah, you do your maximum and hope that Allah will accept because you know that you're not going to match the bounties of Allah, with your parents is exactly the same thing. And you should be asking your parents all the time, are they satisfied or not? كيف رضاكم عني? That's the typical question that you should be asking. It's not like do something and go. They're happy or they're not happy, it's not my business. No. It's you keep, and whatever you cannot do physically, like with your money or with your time, make it up with good words. Be generous with your good words. Good words, they're not going to cost you anything. Whatever you can do with your money and time, do it. And make up the rest, because some people don't have a lot to offer. Some people, their financial situation does not allow them to do a lot to their parents. Do your best, do what you can, time-wise, financially, and then make up the rest with good words. Calling them all the time, asking about them, and dealing with them with kindness. I told you, and always ask, is there anything else I can do? Is there anything else I can do? I told you that Quran and the Sunnah of Rasul, they teach us by extreme examples. Why? Because if Rasul is going to give us only one example, or the Quran is going to give only one example, it has to be an extreme case so that it will apply to all the cases below that. Now, Quran tells us, when it comes to our relationship with our parents, وَإِن جَاهَدَاكَ عَلَى أَن تُشْرِكَ بِي مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ. This is an extreme case. You have parents that are non-Muslims. And not only that, they are fighting you over your deen. They are fighting you to pull you towards shirk. وَإِن جَاهَدَاكَ. They are working hard to get you out of Islam. This is an extreme case. So any case that you're going to mention below that is meaningless. A lot of people, sometimes they come up with excuses. I'm not very kind to my parents because they are rude, or they are this and they are that. This is nothing compared to this extreme case. This is a case of parents fighting their child to pull him out of Islam to shirk. وَإِن جَاهَدَاكَ. Don't obey them in this, Quran says. فَلَا تُطَعْهُمْ. In this, don't obey them. وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. You still have to be kind to them. In this extreme case, yes. In this extreme case of parents who are fighting you over your deen. So what excuse you can come up with? It's going to be much less than this. وَإِن جَاهَدَاكَ عَلَى أَن تُشْرِكَ بِي مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا. Don't obey. وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. So every excuse that you may have, drop it. It means nothing, it's irrelevant. Because it's nothing compared to this case where you have parents fighting their child to pull him out of Islam. And Quran says what? Never show a sign of frustration to your parents. فَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ. That's a very minor expression of frustration is not tolerated. That's also another extreme. If this is not tolerated, then everything else, of course, that's going to cause them to be sad or cause them to be at pain is not tolerated. If the word often, فَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ, just the least expression of frustration is not allowed when it comes to your parents. So you do your best, you do the maximum you can, and then again you make up for the rest with good words and with kindness. And as I said, in many cases, that's all what the parents need. In many cases nowadays, parents are in good shape financially, or they are doing okay, and all what they need from you is the caring, asking about them. Don't neglect them. Call them, communicate with them, and ask about them, and then show them that kind of kindness and the good words of وَتُوبُ إِلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين ونستغفره ونستهديه ونتوب إليه. نعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. My dear respected brother and sister in Islam, let's conclude with some practical steps that we should be doing. One is for brothers and sisters who are married already. If things are not in good shape with your parents, it's never too late. Try to start from now, from today, start to work on that relationship and fix it. It's not smart to lose your dunya and your akhirah for silly issues and for silly excuses. Because your parents are not pleased with you, you're compromising this life and the hereafter. I told you how much you're going to lose in this life, and in the hereafter Allah has put a condition for Him to be pleased with you, that your parents should be pleased with you. Get me that certificate from your parents, then we can talk. Before that, Allah will not be pleased with you. So it's never too late to turn things around. You go back, you talk to your spouse, and you try to make plans to turn things around and fix it. And forget about all the excuses and the silly issues that may have caused problems with your parents, because they're nonsense. And start be smart investor, someone who invests in his life and in the hereafter through being kind to your parents. Those who are going to be getting married in the future, this is something that we have to put on the top of the list when we are helping our children or people getting married. It has to be an essential item of this new family. Two people are getting together, they're getting married. They have a joint goal in life, supposedly to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to qualify for heaven, and they're going to cooperate. It has to be on top of the list of the duties and obligations and priorities of this newly formed family is what? You're going to take care of you're going to take care of good care of your family, and I will do the same. And both of us will take good care of my family. There is no other option. It's this newly formed family is going to take good care of the two families that brought them. And husband has to be good to his in-laws, and the wife has to be good to her in-laws. It is in addition to both of them being good to their own parents. If we're talking about getting married or systematic marriage, this should be on top of the list. If we're serious about seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and want to be successful in this life and get the protection and the guidance and the help from Allah when He's pleased with us, so let's take good care of our both families. It has to be next to the ibadah. Being kind to your parents, Allah put it next to the tawheed. So if you are taking good care of your prayers but neglecting your families, there is something wrong. You're getting it wrong. You're missing the point. If you're seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with your ibadah, then you cannot be neglectful of your parents. Because Allah will not be pleased with you if your parents are not pleased with you. So this is something that should be aware of, how severe, how serious it is, both in the hereafter and in this life. And alhamdulillah, nowadays people are educated. So these silly issues of the husband in constant dispute with his mother-in-law, or the wife is in daily disputes with her mother-in-law, that's nonsense. And nowadays, even the older generation are educated, and the new generation are educated, and people are busy and they have careers. So normally they should have no time for this. They should have no time to fight or to have all these kinds of disputes. And again, on top of this is the religious motivation, and also to be smart. You want to be successful in this life and thereafter, you know that passes by the pleasure of Allah, which passes by the pleasure and satisfaction of your parents. ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اشف مرضانا وارحم موتانا وتوفنا من راض عنا واختم بالصالحات أعمالنا واجعل خير أعمالنا خواتمها وخير أيامنا ومنلقاك. ومتعنا اللهم بنظرك لوجهك الكريم. ربنا ارحم والدينا كما ربونا صغارا، وارحم موتانا وجميع موتى المسلمين. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الصلاة.